Welcome back to Delayed Response. Now, when it comes to conspiracy theories, I thought I knew all of them. But I found some videos for you guys that I've never seen before. And now I'm starting to question everything I knew about my life. Like, is my cats really my cats? Is my life really my life? Is my job really my job? Is rent really due? Like, so many questions. So, anyway, without further ado, let's just get straight into it.
I found a dark Garfield theory that I didn't really back when I was younger too.
Yeah.
But back when Garfield had comics back in the 1900s,
Mhm.
there were four main characters. Here, let me remember the
It was
name.
like Odie,
Yeah,
the dog.
it was Garfield, John, Garfield's owner, Odie, and Lyman.
Who's Lyman? The other cat, right?
No, this was John's roommate. So
Oh,
he
no.
was always in the Garfield comics, right?
Yeah.
But I think when it came close to 2000s, he just made one last appearance and then he was gone forever. Like, and everyone's like asking the creator, where did he go, right? So on the 10th anniversary, the creator had a Garfield book. He made a Garfield book, and in the book, he put 10 reasons why Lyman disappeared. And why it's dark, it's because the last one, it said, don't check in John's basement.
What the fuck?
It gets deeper too, because Garfield has an official website where they play like Garfield themed games. There was a game called Garfield Scavenger Hunt, and it was in John's house.
Yeah.
And when you go around the house and you go in the basement, in the back is
No.
Lyman tied up like this.
No way.
Like he's like a captured victim of John.
What the fuck?
Las Vegas and the Grand Canyon are biblical Egypt. California is the biblical promised land. The biblical Nile River is the Colorado River, and the biblical Mississippi River, the Mississippi River is biblical Euphrates. Now, before I tell you how, you have to realize only all of this makes sense if Jesus came back and we're in a little season of Satan. It does not make sense if we're just waiting for the second coming. Now, before you go, the Grand Canyon is just some rocks. I want you to look at this rock formation, okay? It clearly looks like lightning. The Bible says Jesus comes back with fervent heat, and electricity is fervent heat. And that's why the Grand Canyon looks exactly like that, because the electricity's stuck. Then they also have Egyptian god temples there. I don't know why they would if it wasn't actually real Egypt. And the oldest known 10 commandments we have written in stone is in New Mexico. So how does that make any sense? As you can see right here, the Grand Canyon has these little holes all over. And if I'm right about Jesus coming back, that means Armageddon happened. That means 1/3 of the angels fell, which is obviously why you have those holes around the whole earth. Exactly 200 are around the whole world. So this is Egypt and it got destroyed. Fallen angels fell down with it. As you can see right here, this is California on an old map. It is split by the Red Sea, okay? Which is the promised land split by the Red Sea that Moses had to cross. Yet again, split by the Red Sea. And it has the Colorado River flowing right into it, which the Nile River would have done. And when you overlap these images of our maps today with the old map, Grand Canyon, aka Egypt, is right here, and it's a quick little walk across the Red Sea to the Promised Land. And that explains why we have buildings like this from the 17 and 1800s in America, when supposedly nobody was living here. Everybody's moving in from Europe and England, and they're living in wood huts and shooting people like cowboys. How does this make sense in a timeline? Unless people lived here for a long time. As you can see right here, the Vikings came 500 years before Columbus ever did, if he ever did. So that throws off the mainstream media timeline for good. But then that makes you think, okay, so what if the Vikings built these buildings? Now, before I sound crazy, just think about this. All these old buildings we see are split by two types of architectures. This Romanesque type of architecture, right? You can clearly tell this looks like Venice, Italy right here, mixed with the Vatican buildings. This is obviously Roman influence. The Pantheon in Rome is exactly like the buildings I just showed you. Okay, so now think about this. How are Romans and Vikings alike? Well, they all have pagan gods and they all have multiple gods that represent the same thing. Zeus, Thor, his sisters, then the children they have that are half God and human. Like, it's all the same religion. Same thing with the Greeks, the Romans. Like, they're all the same deities, just different names and stories for different cultures. So, what if Rome was the final beast? Because it was. That's not debated upon all Christians. So the final beast was the whole world. So therefore, it literally had every single religion and race. So the best sailors were the Vikings. So the Romans obviously said, yo, go sail for us and build in America. Because that was Rome. Rome wasn't just a little city in Italy. Rome was the whole world. Then we got buildings like this in the Middle East in the desert, okay? Where you see the top triangle, which is obviously a Roman building. Then you got the Corinthian pillars, which is obviously Roman. Then you have pagan gods, Corinthian pillars, the little circle half circle that they like to do at top of their buildings. And as you can see right here, it was also melted because it was hit with the same electrical current and power that Grand Canyon was. Very clearly, these are pagan Roman gods. So therefore, everything we're told is a lie. Tartaria is just a city within the millennial reign. Same thing in Turkey. These were not built to look like this at all. If anything, we know that the old world had way better architecture and structures than we do today. So this was obviously melted. This is a 38-story bunker and cave system inside of the same city that you just saw melted. You know what they were hiding from? God's wrath. They knew the word. Turkey is one of the 7 places of Asia that John writes to in Revelation. He says, repent. Jesus is coming back soon. Repent, or your church will be destroyed. And guess what? And as you can see here, all the 7 churches were destroyed, just like John said would happen very soon. Not today, but soon back then. Because Jesus was coming back then, and now we're just waiting for new heaven and earth. And if you don't believe Jesus came back, watch my other videos because they have a lot more proof.
This video went viral in Brazil of a giant on top of a hill.
Cara gigante ali, ó.
Fala assim, ó,
Tamanho da
o pôr do sol não apareceu, mas apareceu um gigante lá no pôr do
Cara,
sol.
o tamanho da árvore, galera.
Ó, o pôr do sol não apareceu, mas apareceu
Olha
um
aqui.
gigante.
Olha,
Olha o cara, ó.
olha aqui embaixo o tamanho dos caras, ó. Olha o tamanho do pessoal.
Olha o cara, olha o cara. Olha lá, o pôr do sol não apareceu, mas apareceu um gigante. Olha lá, vai. Cadê ele? Vai mais, tá saindo. Oh, achei que eu tava maluco. Eu também achei, cara. Filmei. Peraí, Sô, tira o descanso, Sô. O cara maior que a árvore. A gente tá achando que tem algum golpe lá, não tem cabelo.
Olha lá, ele tá voltando, olha lá, tamanho da árvore, ó.
Imagine flying a drone over a vast canyon, expecting to capture stunning views and serene landscapes. But what if, instead of breathtaking scenery, your drone uncovers something so chilling that it leaves you speechless? In a remote canyon, a recent drone expedition made a shocking discovery that no one was supposed to see. What was found in this desolate place, and why has it been kept hidden from the world? Let's find out. Nestled in a remote corner of the world lies a canyon that few have seen and even fewer have explored. This canyon, known as Shadow Gorge, stretches over 200 miles, cutting through the rugged landscape like a deep scar. The sheer cliffs rise majestically, painted in layers of red, orange, and gold. Shadow Gorge is not just a natural wonder, it holds a significant place in the hearts of the local people. For centuries, the canyon has been shrouded in mystery and legend. The indigenous tribes believe it to be a sacred place, inhabited by spirits of their ancestors. They tell stories of hidden treasures and ancient civilizations that once thrived in its depths. These tales have been passed down through generations, adding an air of mystique to the already awe-inspiring landscape. Despite its beauty and cultural importance, Shadow Gorge remains largely unexplored. The harsh terrain and unpredictable weather conditions have kept adventurers at bay. However, in recent years, advancements in technology have opened new doors for exploration, and that's where our story begins. Meet Alex Turner, a seasoned drone operator and adventurer with a passion for uncovering the unknown. Alex has spent years exploring remote locations and capturing breathtaking footage of nature's wonders. When he first heard about Shadow Gorge, he knew he had to see it for himself. Armed with his state-of-the-art drone, Alex set out on a mission to document the canyon's untouched beauty. The purpose of Alex's flight was simple: to capture stunning aerial footage of the canyon and its unique geological formations. He hoped to create a documentary that would showcase the grandeur of Shadow Gorge and perhaps even uncover some hidden secrets. Little did he know, his expedition would lead to a discovery far beyond his wildest dreams. As Alex guided his drone through the canyon, the initial images were nothing short of breathtaking. The camera captured stunning shots of the canyon's towering cliffs, winding pathways, and the vibrant hues of the rock formations. Alex, glued to his controller, admired the raw beauty and grandeur of Shadow Gorge. But then, something strange appeared on the screen. In a secluded part of the canyon, partially obscured by shadows, was an unusual structure. At first glance, it seemed like a natural rock formation, but as the drone got closer, it became clear that it was something far more intriguing. The structure had distinct, straight lines and right angles that nature rarely creates on its own. Alex's heart began to race. He realized he might have stumbled upon something extraordinary. His initial thoughts were a mix of excitement and curiosity. Could this be a remnant of an ancient civilization? What stories could this place hold?
Take a look at what they found in the Grand Canyon. You know the 20-foot tall Grand Canyon people that the wedding couple found earlier this week that scared them away? Well, this is the creature. It is an unidentified creature. It's known to be very violent. It seems that we don't know any more information, that it came from an asteroid or a UFO.
We all been lied to about the truth behind the times of 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. And I'm about to tell you exactly what the fuck be going on at that time. Let's get into it. Basically, during this time, the veil between our realm and the other higher realms of existence is thinnest at this point, right? Everybody's been told that. But did you know that at this point in your time, if you get woken up, it's called the ambrosial hour? And it's actually a huge energetic boost for all of us that naturally we wake up during the night. Sometimes when our soul, aka our higher self, wants us to use this energy to be in the creator mode of this reality. So if you ever played Minecraft, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. It's actually a great time for you to be in the purgatory. You're not dead, you're not alive, but you're on the other side. Because did you not know, friend, that everything that we're doing is a dream right now? Yes! Even when we go to sleep, we think we're sleeping. We're not sleeping. We're actually just back in our original state of nothingness, and we're without a body, so we're without having a human experience, and we are just experiencing life without this vessel. And that's what happens when we're asleep. But when we wake up during those times, we are still in that state because your brain is the map and the gateway to consciousness.
A lot of people wondered if dinosaurs existed when mankind existed. Well, in my opinion, here's the evidence. You can see this looks almost like a stegosaurus.
Yeah.
You can see with the meat on its bones, which means whoever made this knew what it looked like, okay? One thing I found from a lot of these ancient cultures, they always draw what they saw or what they knew. Nobody just said, one day I'm gonna have a fantasy of making a dinosaur.
Yes.
So, even if they saw the bones, how would they get the structure right with this kind of muscle and everything else? Yeah. Because they probably saw it. And you can find dinosaurs at Göbekli Tepe in Turkey on the stone columns. And a lot of different other places around the world, you'll find ancient sites with depictions of dinosaurs exactly how they looked in ancient times, which means that 65 million years ago, yes, something probably happened and dinosaurs became almost extinct. But because other animals survived, we know that possibly some of these dinosaurs also survived. And the evidence can be found at temples like this at Tao Prom and many other places around the world.
There's a theory that Naruto,
Yeah.
his whole upbringing of him being shunned by the village,
Right.
and him being the outcast, and we don't like that kid. That was all planned by
Yeah.
third Hokage. Kind of plan with it was that they're gonna make him so saddened or so hurt that he's gonna come out a hero. And he wants to come out from the dust and then become a hero for the village.
It was like a trial for him, basically.
Not necessarily a trial, but a way to bring out the best in him.
Bring out the best in him.
They try to purposely put him in a dark place. Because look, it doesn't make sense that you would take a kid with a demon inside of him and shun him, right?
Yeah, nah.
But I guess the third Hokage is smart, bro.
He's smart.
He's smart. So I think his plan with it was that, okay, I'm gonna make sure that he turns out to be a great hero and he comes out with the best heart. So that way he was kind of chasing that validation from the village. That's why Naruto, he's known as being the protector of the village.
Wow. I never even
is down there.
Giant monsters.
And who are they and why are they here?
They're a natural defense mechanism from the planet. They've been here longer than any of us have, or since before the dinosaurs even. These are creatures that go back millions of years potentially and have been living there for a very, very long time. My personal encounter with them is they're highly intelligent, and I guarantee you a living creature that's 200 or 300 feet tall, that's, several 100,000 or 1,000,000 years old, has a consciousness that probably defies understanding from me or you anyway.
How long have they been here?
Millions of years, probably even maybe since the beginning of the planet.
Could you give me an example of what one of these giants looked like?
Sure. I've only had one personal experience that I can relate. While I have been briefed on the subject and I could describe a few other things, I only have one personal experience that I was there for, saw with my own eyes, and experienced with my own 5 senses. So if you want to imagine something that resembles a big furry primate, maybe like a sloth that walks on its hands and is covered with hair that looks like giant dreadlocks.
How tall do you think, could you estimate?
I would estimate that it was probably between 250 and 300 feet tall.
How do they grow to such an extreme size, and why aren't we not seeing them on the surface?
Well, I think we're talking about pre-primordial time, so we're talking about before the dinosaurs, when plants and animals were even larger. So I think we're just talking about they came from a time when biological life grew bigger.
Because we talk about sleep paralysis all the time, right?
Oh yeah, I just had it.
You just had it?
Yeah, remember the girl that was with me, but I was still awake?
Yo, so there's a theory that anytime you have sleep paralysis is because a demon is trying to attack you.
Chill.
This guy is in sleep paralysis, and he's been having sleep paralysis so many times throughout the week. So he decides, okay, I'm gonna get one of those cameras that can see beyond. It's one of those
like
cameras that can thermal. Yeah. And it will be able to show if anything's there, trying to catch a ghost or whatever. He's like, why am I always having sleep paralysis? Because it always feels like somebody's pressing on my chest. Usually that's what people feel whenever they have it. Look at this video. The guy's going like this. Right here.
Sleep paralysis, something I'm certain each and every one of you has experienced at least once.
You see it?
In your life.
Yo. So you can see his chest moving.
As you can see,
and then there's like a figure. It's like a translucent figure, and it's right on top of his chest, and it's pushing him, and then he wakes up after.
This mysterious
No. But you can see that's why everyone feels like pressing on the chest,
seemingly strangling him.
Because that's how it's described usually too.
Viewers have pointed out that there's a lot of
oh my god, it's moving.
The room as well.
This shit is moving.
So you can see it on this end, and you can see it through the camera.
Oh, that's
this
crazy.
the actual proof that demons.
And it walks away, and then that's when he wakes up. Oh, fuck. So it really could be things that you don't see.
Does anyone actually still watch the moon landing footage and think it's real?
Houston, we've had a problem. Main B bus undervolt. Roger, main B undervolt. Stand by 13, we're looking at it. Okay, right now, Houston, the voltage is looking good.
The color blue was never written down.
Weird.
Like in the Bible and like all this, like blue was never a word.
Weird.
And they would always describe.
They didn't have a word for that color?
No. And so, but like when they would describe like the ocean and stuff like that, they would describe it as like green.
What?
And yeah. And so the theory is if you can't connect a word with a color, can you not see that color? Because your brain, and so they did an experiment in this tribe, and they also have never heard the word blue. And so they gave this graph, and it's this graph of like 12 squares, and they're all green, right? And then there's one that's like a bluish green, and they had these people look at it, and they were staring at it, and it took them so long to figure out which color, because they don't know what to look for in the blue. It was weird. And then they showed another one, and it was all green, and then there was one square that was just like a shade lighter of a green, but it was hard for us to see, and they could spot it instantly.
Wow.
Because they have like over 30 words for green.
Oh my gosh.
The brain is tricky.
Timeline fractures start to become visible. Let's go in. The last major reset occurred between the mid-1700s and late 1800s, roughly 250 to 150 years ago. This reset wasn't just war or disease. It was a global memory wipe, infrastructure repopulation, and narrative overwrite. They used mud floods, fires, engineered natural disasters, and selective rewriting of history to wipe Tartaria and erase what came before. Now here's the strange part. The Capitol buildings, World's Fair structures, old world cathedrals, domed geometries, these were already here. We didn't build them, we inherited them. Photos from the 1800s show cities fully built, yet nearly empty. No scaffolding, no construction, just there. And the stories, always the same, built in a few years, then burned down. Now enter the orphan trains and Cabbage Patch Kids. Between 1854 and 1929, over 200,000 children were shipped across the U.S. by train. No parents, no background, just orphans. But where did all the orphans come from? They were reset survivors, children with no memory, no lineage, placed into repopulated cities to seed a new narrative. Why? Because adults remember. Children can be programmed. Cabbage Patch Kids, the dolls said to be grown in the Cabbage Patch, are symbolic disclosure. Born from the earth, no parents. Just like the orphan trains. The name is not innocent, it's encoded truth. The U.S. wasn't founded and built from scratch. It was inherited, cleansed, and rebranded. The buildings were Tartarian. The reset was intentional. And now the memory is coming back. Because people like you are asking the right questions.
Albert Einstein talks about how energy is not created nor destroyed, it's only changed in form. So if we're hearing impaired, where our energy would have gone towards hearing, it now has to go somewhere else. And so for me, it went into the extrasensory perception of feeling and recognizing that people say things all the time, words lie all the time. Energy never lies. You can feel, as soon as you're with someone, you can feel
instantly
how much they're loving, or if they're judging.
Or not.
Exactly.
Or not.
If they're judging you, if they're if they have division in their internal narrative, but they're saying all of the right things. You can feel it. Yet because we're distracted by our five senses, we don't give credit to the extrasensory perception of our intuition and our feeling, which actually I've learned is the only voice I want to listen to is my intuition. Beyond the mind, beyond the stories, and actually into a deeper level of feeling. And that is what my hearing gifted me, was recognizing I was given a truth filter. That the vibrational words holds messages that are behind the actual words themselves.
Astronauts. Buzz Aldrin in Hawaii and Buzz Aldrin on the moon. Compare the mountains in the background. Looks quite similar. The Apollo 11 crew without helmets. Werner von Braun on a set with the lunar lander and the retroreflectors. Werner von Braun and Walt Disney. Here Walt Disney again. Stanley Kubrick with NASA officials. A huge outdoor area where craters are created by explosions. Where a huge crane was installed above the crater landscape where the lunar lander is hanging at the crane. Here you can better see the lunar lander with the astronaut and a nice close-up with the NASA logo. Here from another side view, those lines are the edge of the set. Again, Walt Disney and Werner von Braun. Again, Walt Disney on the right, Werner von Braun on the left, and the high-ranked NASA scientist and the moon simulator.